Bienvenidos. Soy la Bruja Espinada and I am here with your new moon and Gemini message. So let's get started. What is currently in play at this moment? We have the Four of Swords, and it is in reverse. At the bottom of the deck, we have Strength in reverse, the Five of Swords in reverse, the Six of Swords upright, the Hermit in reverse, the Knight of Cups, the Page of Cups right side up, the Eight of Swords right side up, the Five of Pentacles, Ten of Wands, the Seven of Cups in reverse, the Nine of Cups, and the Star in reverse. And I'm gonna finish with the Moon. Should I need to pull any more cards, I will. As I was saying, we have the new moon in Gemini at this time. There is a calling or a pull towards exploring new possibilities, exploring creative outlets that you may not have had a chance to explore or had to put a pause on exploring. Things that you've put off for way too long that you want to address, that you need to study, that you want to pursue. And right now is that time. This is the time of that encouragement. It's as the Gemini is the twins, or you can consider it like, I don't want to say split personality, but what I want to say is more of a, you know how there's people that when they talk about your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign, and it's typically said that or the way that it's depicted, and this is not everyone believes this, but most people tend to share this, is that the sun sign is who you portray yourself to be. The moon sign is who you are on the inside. The rising sign is who you truly are. Some people say this. Now, if you consider that, and you reflect it within the sign of Gemini, it's not that you have a twin or that's your mirror necessarily, but it's trying to bring who you put yourself out to be with who you want to become, or who you've been aspiring to become, and you're putting them together, right? They're intertwining, kind of like the helix of DNA. They're not far apart, but without the other one without the other wouldn't be in existence. And so this is where we are trying to blend the two. It's no longer having to worry about you no longer have to worry about having to put up a image or a mask on how you're portrayed. It's kind of like you don't have to have that shame necessarily. Like you no longer have to hide who you are. There's just so many possibilities that are opening up right now, and so that's why it's that message of, if you are truly ready to pursue what it is that you've been working so hard to achieve, you can't scale back because you're still hiding that. You know what I mean? It's time to step into that role that you've been wanting for so long, or that you've been pulled to because now it's your calling, or that you feel it's your calling. Now, there is the Four of Swords in reverse. That's not necessarily a bad thing. As you see here, this individual right side up is laying down on a pillow, arms crossed over. And in reverse, right, it looks like they're bowing. Now, the Four of Swords in reverse is an indicator of some frustration, some I don't want to explain it. Okay, so this card is encouraging rest. Okay, it's encouraging rest, but in this instance, as I said, right, it's frustration. There's frustration. There is a lot of the readings leading up to this one have kind of explained the same thing. It's like overdoing, overworking, giving too much to others, and not giving enough to yourself. And that's what the Four of Swords here is expressing, that there is that it's starting to weigh down on you. Okay, and this image here is the best way to express it, right? So here it looks like they're intentionally taking that time to rest. Here, right side up, or sorry, in reverse, it's that weight of all this exhaustion and frustration is forcing that bow out. It's like, okay, now I'm forced to have to bow my head, bowing down to the message that I am at the point of burnout. I absolutely need to rest. Bow to the weight of the necessity to rest, to give yourself that replenishment, to recover, to continue to do what you have to do. Now, I know many people that watch these readings personally, and all of them are very strong individuals that take on so much. And unfortunately, a lot of the times they don't rest. They don't rest. And but when it comes to helping others, they are giving over 100%. They're giving more than they should. And they are running on fumes. And unfortunately, it's starting to take a toll. As I say to a lot of them, it's like, hey, you're not a spring chicken anymore. And that's not a play on the concept of like age or too old for this. It's just your body can't take it anymore. Your body cannot take it anymore. And instead of carrying on to live a longer, healthier life, you're cutting your time because you're depleting yourself to the point of taking all that nutrients from your own bones. It's gotten so deep. But the force of rest is coming from the universe. It's not coming from me. It's all that you continue to take on that you don't need to take on anymore. It's here telling you, you are going to rest. And if you don't rest willingly, the way you're going to have to rest is by force. And that's going to complicate things in your life even more. And you'll become more resentful, you'll become more angry, and you're going to want to blame the universe, but it wasn't the universe's fault if you chose not to willingly rest. That's what this card is saying. Now, it is followed by the Strength in reverse. Not saying that you're not strong, but what this card is saying is that you are afraid that what I'm explaining is going to happen, and yet you are still not putting your foot down to put that rest into effect. Whether it's because if no one does it, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? That's not your problem anymore. This actually a couple of readings back, that's one of the things that was explained is you cannot keep lightening the load of other people if they are not taking that initiative to build it up themselves. And just because you feel guilty, guilt isn't paying your bills. Guilt isn't helping you heal. Guilt isn't giving you the recovery that you need. That guilt is breaking you down even further. Look at this card. When it's in reverse, the swords are willingly put down. That person is embracing themselves in that rest. Here, the swords are put up, saying, forcefully, you're going to rest, and we're going to make you rest. You don't want that. You don't want that. Do you want to be forced to rest? You're afraid of that possibility of something happening to you and then people are screwed, but yet you're not doing anybody any favors by lightening their load. People must build strength to carry that load. You can't do that not changing up that weight. Just like you had to be forced to be strong by having that, allowing the weight to get piled on and get piled on and get piled on. Even a mule and a donkey, eventually their back can snap. They can carry a lot. That doesn't mean they can carry everything. Now, with that being said, I don't choose the messages that I explain. And my apologies if you feel a little bit triggered, but that's what I'm here for. I don't share the messages from me. I just share the messages as they come in. I'm just letting it all come out. Now, the reason why I say the term triggering is because we have the Five of Swords in reverse. When the Five of Swords is coming out in reverse is, ooh, I put salt in some wounds. But you're covered in wounds. And you know what's very surprising about salt? Salt has a lot of healing properties. And so yes, it may sting, but that salt will help heal. This, as you can see, looks like an individual that is just looking at the damage that's done while picking up the pieces. When it's in reverse, you might be remembering the bitterness, the anger, the upset, which is normal. It is natural to feel that. It's natural to remember that pain that it caused, and it might be just as painful as it was when you first felt it. That's not a bad thing. It's good to remember that. And that salt being packed into those wounds is helping to heal the sting that is still felt. Have you ever had a sore throat? Or maybe like a canker sore inside your mouth, in which it's recommended you do like a salt water rinse to help heal that. Salt water rinse is just salt and water boiled until the salt dissolves. And that is 2 natural ingredients, nothing additional, to help cleanse the ailment that is there. 2 things. It stings, and trust me, I hate doing it. And usually when it's recommended, I'm like, I'd rather deal with the pain. That's not the best thing, but it heals it a little bit faster. It helps to heal a little bit faster. So, mind you, you have the force of rest. That is that pending. It's pending. If you don't accept it, you have to stop being afraid. And, yeah, it stings. But in order to succeed and progress forward, which is why we have the 6 of Swords here, It is an indicator of progression moving forward after this pain and wreckage. Now, you want to heal. You want to move forward. You're Aren't you tired of living in the past? That doesn't mean that doesn't mean that you're not allowed to feel angry. That doesn't mean that you're not allowed to feel hate, or that you're not allowed to be somewhat bitter about it. Yes, your feelings are valid. They are your feelings. They are your feelings. And the thing is that even if even if even if it is very difficult to overcome, and you maybe other people are trying to influence you with the concept of forgive and forget, which is coincidentally enough one of the messages that usually accompanies the five of cards, the five of swords in reverse, is it's time to forgive and forget. How do I go about saying this? There's people that encourage the forgive and forget, and I'm not gonna say that, but what I'm going to say is forgiveness is a tricky thing, and many people attribute it to a specific denomination. And they say, well, forgiveness is for you. How about you take it like this? Because I'm not gonna lie and say that there are people and situations that I have forgiven, because my thing is like, I'm not gonna forget, but I'm gonna move on. I'm not gonna forget, but I am going to move on. Have I forgiven them? No. Because there were certain decisions that were made as fully grown adults that have this major entitlement, and yet they've never apologized because they felt it was their right. Now, what personally I feel is like, I don't I'm not going to forget. Obviously, it impacted me greatly. I'm not going to forgive them, but I'm definitely going to move on. Acceptance is one of those things. You have to accept, you know what? That person will not change. That person openly made their decision, made it clear that they were not going to change. I'm going to accept that, and I'm going to leave them where they're at. And I'm going to continue on, because I don't deserve to be continuing to be miserable. And you can store that away. You don't have to hold on to that level of hatred and resentment, but you can say, you know what? And if people try to present them to you like, hey, they've changed, be like, you know what? Good for them. Good for them. Good for them and society if they changed. But I am not willing to welcome that memory of that hurt, that memory of their selfishness, whatever that is. I don't accept it. And they can stay over there, and they can continue living a happy life over there. I don't have to be a part of it, because having them in my life won't be a happy thing. If you choose to forgive, that's on you. The way that you don't have, and then on top of that, you don't have to explain to anybody why you don't forgive. That's your story. That's your decision. But you can let go of the amount of rage that it may cause you. I'm not going to say it's going to happen overnight. It takes time. Again, salt on the wound takes time for it to heal still, and it'll sting. The moment, there's going to be a day where you put salt on that wound, and then it won't sting anymore, because the wound has been healed. But you remember the pain of it, which is why people, when they would like, before it was like discouraged to use alcohol and peroxide, that sting, you blow on it, trying to get rid of that pain. Now, the way that you choose to progress is yours. The way that you choose to progress is your own. The one thing that I will say is that if you, however you choose to move forward, you're doing it for you. Don't do it for anybody else but you. Do it for yourself. That's what this message is saying. Everything that you do is for you. You're here to hear these messages for you. I've explained this to other people that have come to me asking for readings, like typically for someone else, and I'll tell them I don't read for anyone else. If you're coming to me to ask for yes or no answers, that's not how it's going to work. If you're going to come to me specifically asking for a specific topic, now if you're asking for advice or messages in regards to love and things like that, that's not what these, when I read, that's not what these messages are for. When I begin and set up for my readings, I specifically state, to the universe, the divine, I do ask, allow me to connect deeper with you at this time, because I'm always connected, but let me connect deeper with you at this time, specifically to provide the words of wisdom for those that are asking for guidance, protection, and healing. I am simply the vessel to show what needs to be heard. So sometimes I'll be like, oh, that hit me specifically. And I'm like, it was whoever was meant to come across it will come across it. This is telling you what you need to hear. And if it reminds you of someone specifically, you can always forward it to them and be like, hey, maybe you should hear this. I'm not here to tell people what to do, what to believe. That's not my job. That is not my purpose in life. But I'm here to share messages to give you an idea of, how about you think about it this way instead? You can decide all on your own. If, you believe that there's a creator out there, most people believe like, oh, God. And you have to remember that in the way that story is written, you were given the choice. You were given free will. Should you choose to hear this message and take it to heart, and how you go about it is all your choice. But here I'm just pointing out where the help is needed. And it's time to move forward and succeed. And I know it's scary I know you're afraid to think about yourself and your feelings, because we have the Hermit in reverse. The Hermit is one of, people are like, I don't want to be alone. It has nothing about being alone. It has to do with connecting with yourself. You have to connect with yourself. You keep doing for others, and you're going to be forced to rest at some point. And you may say like, well, I could use that rest. Have you ever been struck down with a sickness in the most inopportune time of your life? Let's say that you have this huge project and all of a sudden you have uncontrollable stomach issues. And you're like, oh no, not today. Why today? Because you didn't take care of yourself. Or you're out and then randomly, boom, something happens to you physically. Why today? Why me? because you had to be forced to. I personally do understand of not having time to do things. I do understand that. And I've slowly and begrudgingly, because I am tired, I start waking up earlier to do practices that will help me heal the injury that I have. And honestly, in my body, little by little, the injuries are building up. Because, and my physician had told me, you need to start dedicating at least 7 minutes a day to yourself. He's like, it should be more, but at least no less than 7 minutes every day. And, you know, my physician is very insightful. He will tell me, he's like, you can't save the world. And it makes me cry, because not that I'm trying to save the world, but I take on the burden for a lot of people in my personal life. And I know a lot of you do too. This is why I'm so impassioned about this. And, you know, it's the kettle calling the pot black, or however that saying goes. But I'm starting to take it very seriously, because I understand that even I am not healing and recuperating at the rate that I used to. And I don't want that for you either. I want you to be healthy. Spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally. I want you to heal too. And yes, it's scary having to tap into your emotions, especially when it's your emotions. You're so good about taking care of other people's, you don't take care enough about your own. You cry in the shower, you breathe like, all right, I need to stop being this little bitch and handle it and da-da-da. Babe, cry it out. Cry it out in the car, cry it out where you need to, and quit being ashamed if people see you cry. You know what? Are they going to judge you? They're going to judge you because they're emotionally immature too? Come on. Come on. That's the Knight of Cups in reverse. But we have the Page of Cups upright. This is something you're learning to do. And it's amazing. And what's beautiful, and this is one of my favorite cards, because in the back you will see a flying fish. A flying fish only can survive in the water, but yet they go airborne. The Page of Cups is learning how to deal with your emotions, but also, because this is an airborne, a creature taking flight, air, communication, this means that you are learning how to stand up for yourself. You're learning how to speak your boundaries. You're learning how to take that initiative that you need to be able to express to who needs to hear it everything that you're going through. You will be building that skill that you need to be able to express how you can no longer deal with the situations that keep you bound, tied, uncomfortable. All this, you're going to be able to express that. Hey, I can't do this anymore. It's too much for me. Hey, your lame excuses, your lame promises are no longer serving. It's too much. Now it's done. Whatever's keeping you and your resources depleted, you will be able to express those things. Because, again, as shown here, you've pushed yourself beyond your limits, right? You're feeling exhausted because you're working so hard to accomplish your dreams. You're working so hard to accomplish your dreams. And if no one is supporting you in that, you're going to be even more tired. But you're so close to accomplishing your dreams. And that's why the roots are coming up through the earth saying, you're almost there. It's that hope that is building, that is holding you up, right? Now, what does concern me are the next three cards. I'm not going to lie to you. But let me explain why. Usually, this card is an indicator from universe, an encouragement, right? It is an encouragement that, how do I want to explain it? Okay. It's not a, okay. Let me backtrack. I'm not trying to discourage you or instill fear. Okay. So, whenever there is the Seven of Cups, it is encouragement from the universe to just start, right? To just start. Pick anything, pick any one of these things, and you will be successful. And good things will come with what you choose, no matter what it is. Now, when it's in reverse, and trust me, this one I definitely feel on a personal level, there are a lot of options. And you may be an overthinker. And this could be indicating that maybe you just have too many options. And that's what's overwhelming. Because as much as you want to go ahead and choose, there's just too many options to choose from. And now you're at a point where it's like, you're like glitching. It's an overload, right? And so you can put that overthinking into play instead of staying stuck at the what do I choose. Eliminate, do the process of elimination, right? Think about, okay, if I choose these will be the next three steps. Is that feasible? No? Okay, now let's go to the next one. If I choose this one, what are the next three steps? Is that feasible? And do that with every one of the options that you have. And choose which ones you're more willing to go towards, right? Process of elimination in that sense. What are your options? And then that way you lessen the options, and you don't have to worry about okay, what I have to choose one. No. That way you have come to that process of just trusting willy-nilly, right? Like maybe you need a little bit of security, and so you have to start building that within yourself. Is start showing yourself a game plan. In each game plan, you can choose there, be like, you know what, okay, like these three next steps are the most feasible. Maybe I'll take one of these, this one over here too. And now you're breaking it down, right? And so that way, instead of having to worry about 7 different options, now you're worried about 3. Now you're worried about 4. It's a little bit more doable to kind of see that. And then if the remaining 3 or 4 are the ones where, like, you know, these are more feasible, start adding 3 more steps. Now, is that going to be feasible after these 3? Is that going to be feasible after these 3? And then you eliminate more from that process. And then you've narrowed down between 2 or 3. And it's a little bit more easier. Now, the Nine of Cups in reverse is that concept of it's closely tied to the Seven of Cups. It's kind of like you are at the point of like reconsidering. Well, maybe it's that, right? Like you have these opportunities waiting for you for a while, and now that you're going to be going through this game plan of the process of elimination. Now you're thinking of, you could also be thinking about other options, but like, you know what? I know that was an option that I wanted, but I don't think it's going to be an option that I want anymore. And that's okay. That's the reconsideration. Like there's other things, like maybe what you were doing now is something that you wanted to do for a really long time, and now that you're there, it's not fulfilling anymore. And that's okay too. And then there's gonna be questions that come in like, but what if, like, what do I do now? Like, okay, well then, look at all the options that you have remaining. What are the game plans from there? To reconsider is not a bad thing. And I know I made it sound kind of daunting with like, oh, those worry me. Actually, this card here is the one that worries me, because it is the most beautiful card to grace your reading, but this is in reverse. It's the Star card. The Star card is the card of hope. You may feel like you're losing faith, and not saying faith like faith in your higher power, is that you're losing faith in yourself. You're losing faith in yourself. You're losing faith in your own ability, you know. But that's what this reading is for. There's a lot of, this kind of ties back, right? Let's go backwards really quick. When you're at the point of losing faith, and even in your own strength, right? One of the things you want to reconsider and just change the way that you view it. I'm surprised the Hanged Man hasn't come out here. Is that you might be feeling like, hey, you know what? I don't know what I want anymore. With the reverse 7 cups and the reverse 9 cups, I may not know what I want anymore. Or now that you're at that point where you're so exhausted, be like, you know what? Now that I've gotten here, I don't even know if I want this anymore. Because you've been working so hard at it. You know, people haven't been helping in regards to like your resources, and you've been feeling a victim of the situation. You've been bound and tied by it. You know, there's a bunch of feelings that you're repressing and not connecting with, and you're always picking up the pieces. You don't feel strong enough in your own convictions at this point to stand up for yourself, or you know, you're not strong enough to put that boundary up, that you are having to feel vulnerable enough to say like, I need to rest. You're losing that conviction and faith in yourself and your abilities. But don't let it get to the point where the divine have to step in to force you to do so. Taking a break doesn't make you weak. But having the strength to say, I am going to take a break because I need it. There's a difference between like, is it okay if I take a break versus I need a break. The inflection in your voice makes a huge difference in the way something is said. Instead of being like, you know what, I think I need a break. And then that leaves it open for someone to say like, no, you don't. Versus, I think I need a break. No, you don't. Yes, I do. You just convinced me that I do. That alone. That inflection makes a huge difference. But you can't give that up to someone else. You can't hope that you can't lose hope in yourself. But all of the cards, every single one, every single one, every single one, because we end with the moon. The moon is that time, especially now that it's a new moon, perfect timing. The moon is that indicator of going within. You don't see the moon tonight. You think of yourself as the moon. Today you're going to be unseen because you need to spend time with yourself. Even if you have other people that depend on you, take a little bit longer in the bathroom. Put your headphones in. Listen to a mantra, listen to a gospel song that gives you strength, listen to words, listen to affirmations, listen to stories about strong individuals that can overcome. Whatever it is that you listen to, songs or music that gives you that strength and helps you oh, like release. That's what this is for. You need that time for you, with you at that time. Okay, so I didn't want to pull more cards because I feel like that was enough, but I will pull the next ones and just go through them really quick. We have the Devil in reverse. The Devil in reverse is just that indicator of letting go of your bad habits, right? It's similar to the Star in reverse. It's like the lack of conviction, the lack of hope, like you feel that there's no hope right now. Your thought process is what's holding you back. But if you take that time to have that introspection with yourself, you'll be able to more healthily connect with your emotions. We have the King of Cups right side up. You will find that strength to speak up for yourself and learn how to speak up for yourself with the Ace of Swords. The Hanged Man, I was waiting to see where the Hanged Man was. I'm like, this is a huge Hanged Man card, and here the Hanged Man is in reverse. You need to change your perspective. This is that encouragement to change that perspective of yours. You need to change that, like, oh, I'm down and out, I'm burnt out. It's just like, I need to stand up for myself. If I've had strength for anyone else, I need it for myself, and that's a change of perspective here. And then you will come out as the King of Swords, someone who's emotionally healthy, someone who can communicate healthily what their needs, wants, and abilities are. Woo! Finally, we got there. It took long enough. This is one of the longest readings. I've been trying to cut them down, but here we are. Mighty Fates, what additional message do you have at this time for those that are watching this reading? It had to be said. It had to be said. Now, here we go. We have the Wildling. Beautiful swords card, especially with so many of the, here it is, the Wildling. The Wildling. Pulling the Wildling cards indicates a time to connect to the most primal parts of yourself. This may mean you need to detach a bit from people around you so you can hear the whispers of your deepest knowing without the influence of others. I don't make this shit up. The Wildling is raw, empowered, and independent. Many people are intimidated by them because they need little from others and prioritize radical freedom, which can be unsettling as most of society operates within unspoken expectations and contracts. The Wildling burns the contract and heads into the woods. The Wildling comes to us as an ally when we need to break free from the systems that limit us. The Wildling within us remembers a time where we lived with the land, when we walked barefoot and our lives were in alignment with the natural world. The wildling is a call for remembrance. A good way to invoke wildling is to dive deeper into our body and hear what it needs from us in our most primal level. There you go. There you go. A balanced wildling prioritizes freedom but remains grounded. They possess an instinct that may not make sense to others but never lead us astray. They are present in their own emotional needs and will spend time with their personal development, while an unbalanced wildling is in a state of perpetual chaos. They are avoidant and often use the external for a band-aid. They are avoidant and often use the external for a band-aid of their internal disease, which often means that they are constantly moving on to the next thing. When they move on, what they move on to never ends up being what they hoped for. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Animal spirit guides, what do you have to add in order to end this message? One card, please, if possible. What can you add on? Oh, one, please. I didn't see what you were. One card, please. One card, please. What can be what do you have to say that will reinforce what needs to be heard? So mind you, all of this is shared with love. It's not a personal attack on anyone. It's just I do know several people that need to hear this. Even myself, but I don't read for myself. At least not when I'm recording. Animal spirit guides, please. One card. I don't want to read more than one. The point is I don't want to read more than one card. The readings are pretty long, and I don't want this to be longer than they need to be. Because sometimes they're too long and you guys don't have the time to read them or listen. Fine, I'll just take two then. Groundhog spirit, time to let go. And the scarab beetle spirit, magic works through you. I don't think I've ever pulled this one. It's not familiar. So let's go with groundhog. Time to let go. Endings lead to beginnings, and death is a part of life. So groundhog spirit is here to let you know that it is time to accept the natural ending of something that is no longer serving you. We love to hold on to what is familiar, but the new needs space to arrive so growth can occur. When groundhog spirit appears, it is a sign there is something in your present situation that you need to let go of so that something new can be born, something that will be far better serving you now. When the groundhog sees his shadow, he retreats to his den. So too might you earn for a little more time to say goodbye and transition into the new. However, change is coming and it is good. So let go of your resistance. Spring brings many blessings, and what must die will always be reborn in a new form that will be right for you. Life requires change and detachment. Say farewell to whatever once served you and get ready for something amazing to take its place. Spirit is already sending it your way. Have you been relentless in your efforts to revive something that is past its prime and needs to die away? A situation, a relationship, a belief, or a habit that served you once but no longer fills you with vitality? Perhaps you automatically expect to see the world through specific lens based on the familiar. Groundhog Spirit appears to let you know that it is time to accept that the past is the past. So allow yourself to feel the loss and grieve it if you need to. Any sadness will not last forever or overwhelm you. Knowing Spirit is with you and wants you to experience joy and excitement again will help you through this transition from the old to the new. Keep your eyes open, for winter will always give way to spring, and endings always give birth to beginnings. For now, let yourself feel your emotions, releasing them to make way for the joy that awaits you. Spring and new growth are on their way, for that is Spirit's promise to you. I can't make this shit up. So here we go. Scarab Beetle Spirit. I genuinely don't think I've ever pulled this one. In ancient Egypt, the scarab beetle was revered for the creative magic of the scarab. The scarab beetle was revered. For the creative magic of scarab beetle spirit reminds us that we can bring forth something extraordinary, seemingly out of thin air. Whenever you let your creativity flow through you, scarab beetle reminds you that Spirit has given you the gift of infinite potential. You have an ally as you fashion something new or repurpose the old. For Spirit co-creates with you, channeling energy through you so that you feel replenished and vitalized as you make magic with what is at hand. Now is the time for great optimism, for you can accomplish anything you desire, and your creative endeavors will come to fruition. Miracles, opportunities, abundance, and love will appear seemingly out of thin air as you allow Spirit to work through you and magically manifest what you need. Do you doubt your unique inner magic? Are you afraid that you have no originality or that creative juices don't flow through you? Perhaps you mistakenly believe that you're not the creative manifesting type. Scarab Beetle's message is that creativity is a living force that comes to all of us from Spirit, who wants every person on the planet to manifest magic and co-create the world anew. You are as capable of resilience and innovation as anyone. If you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got. So draw inspiration into your being and begin to playfully create something new. And do it without any judgment. Creativity and magic are your legacy as an expression of the Creator, so let them flow through you. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Now, it's not an attack. It's what needed to be heard, right? So go forth. Let go. Let the magic flow through you and become the wild you. Hope this message helps, and I'll see you guys next time.